Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy D Lloyd. So with NBA Live set to drop this Friday, I decided why not make a video going through all of the new features and improvements in their franchise modes. They made a ton of new improvements. They also had a ton of very sloppy mistakes in this franchise mode that I do hope they address with a day one patch. But right away, you see the new settings, and for the league starting points, they have regular season, fantasy draft, and you can redo the NBA draft. You can't redo the entire offseason, but you can redo just the NBA draft. You also see CPU progression frequency, and it's something that they straight up took from Madden, and I am glad that they took it from Madden. We'll go over that in a second, but this is the new layout of franchise mode. This also looks similar in the one mode, and I really am a fan of the layout. Everything is nice and easy to get to. Everything that you need is right up front. You see the draft recap there. All your games are there. The top right, you're going to have your record. You're going to also have your cap space. You see OKC negative 25 million, but you do have Russell Westbrook and you have Paul George on the squad. Right here, you get a nice view of your starting lineup. This is going to be your top 5 guys. Unfortunately, you cannot change the actual lineup from this view. You have to go to your rotation, but that is something nice to see, and you could quickly get to your player progressions from this menu as well. You have your team roster, you have your player progression right there, injury report, you're going to have your trades underneath that. So pretty much everything you need is going to be on that tab. For the whole league, you get your season awards, player stats, season stats, transactions, league standings. All that is going to be on that league tab. So we go right back to the franchise tab. You go to the news, and I like this. They have a ton of news on here. They even have some nice little write-ups as well as you go throughout the season. I do like the news a lot, and it's right front and center. You don't have to go through any menus to try to find it. Everything is right there. You can even sort by just my team. If you don't want to look at the news from everybody in the league, you can just look at your team's news. So I do like that a lot. But going back to your my team right here, you can look at your players. That is cool, but you can quickly get to your progressions. That is the next best part of this list. So you click on Russell Westbrook right here. It takes you to the menu of Russell Westbrook. You can see how you can upgrade your skills. Now, your guy gets upgrade points by performing well during games and also completing milestones. You could use those to then upgrade your stats and your attributes, and that is how your players progress. The CPU has the same thing. You've seen earlier how you could choose how frequently the CPU will progress. By default, it's every 8 weeks, which is 2 months, which gives them enough points to actually progress in a meaningful way. You see that the secondary, your primary, your minor, and your physical is something you cannot change. So your physical, you have to pay attention to that. You cannot change their speed and their physical nature. They also have how quickly they develop. This is also something taken straight from Madden. So you see Russell Westbrook on the bottom right. He has a superstar developmental trait, which means he will progress faster than anybody in the game. Superstar is the top. You have quick, normal, and then you have slow at the very bottom, and those guys are not going to progress whatsoever. You also have all the awards the player has ever won on a nice little screen. Then you have the player contract. This is when I said things are a little sloppy for him right now. You do see the 2-year deal, which technically there is a 2-year deal. He does have a player option, but you'll see what I'm talking about with the contracts later on, how I don't really see what they're doing with the years to the contracts. Now, looking at Andre Robertson, you see him, you see his skills are a lot cheaper, but his attributes aren't as good either. So you could get to a point where attributes get expensive at the end. This should be cheap if you're trying to progress a young guy, especially if you have superstar development trait. You see he has normal, so he should develop at a normal rate. Going back to what I was saying earlier, looking at the player rotation, I do like this menu, nice and simplified as well. Get in, give the players the amount of minutes you want to give them. You can subtract them, and also when you make substitutions on the screen and you play the player out of position, you get a nice little red symbol that's telling you his actual position. So that's one thing I do like as well. So you're not really playing players out of position, but you can play them. You just want to also know that you're playing them out of position. So you see me swap Steven Adams and Patrick Patterson. They tell me the regular positions. That's a nice little small feature that I do like. Going on to free agency, and I'm going to go under contract negotiations. So you see me trying to sign Brandon Jennings right here. Everything is pretty basic because it is the middle of the season, which means you can only sign him to a 1-year deal. So really not a lot of negotiations you can do, but you see 1-year deal, $1 million. There's of course not going to be any option types to this deal. So very simple, but you can choose the option. You can't even choose the contract type. If you want a flat, if you want a front-ended, back-ended, you can finally change that in NBA Live this year. So you go ahead, offer him the 1-year deal. he's going to go ahead and accept the deal because he's just trying to get on the NBA roster at this point. So this is very nice and simple. You get Brandon Jennings on the team. I'll show you how it looks off season in a little bit. So going to trade negotiations, they don't have the trade block. At least I couldn't find the traditional trade block. But what you can do is you can pick a player. So I go to Steven Adams, I put him there, and the interest by each team shows up. So you see the Milwaukee Bucks have max interest. You've seen the 76ers only have medium interest. And you can go through each team and see who all has a ton of interest in Steven Adams. So that can help you put together a pretty solid trade. Now, they do have play the moment. They're going to try to make this seem like it's just like Madden. It is not just like Madden. The name is the same, but this is basically Super Sim from years past. Really not a lot of changes here. A few small changes, not a lot of changes. So you're looking at it exactly the same right now as Super Sim in the past. You can skip by quarter. You can even skip straight ahead to final minutes, which I do like that. That saves you a little bit of time. But we're going to go ahead and skip to the next quarter. You see we're in the third quarter right now. We're going to go ahead and let this run on fast speed. You see the speed, nice and easy. And I do like Super Sim, especially if you plan on playing full 82 game seasons. If you do this, you don't have to play all 82 games, but you can have an impact on all 82 games. So you can simulate it. If it's close, you can jump in. If you're losing, if you're winning, you can just let that thing go ahead and simulate all the way through. But when you jump in, the neat part is you jump right in. There is no loading because you have to load to get to that play the moment screen. So you see how we jumped right in. We're going to go ahead and play one possession with Russell Westbrook and the Thunder, and then we're going to jump right back out and go right back into the simulation, which is definitely cool. So we get a nice easy dunk right there, and instead of playing defense, we're going to hop back in because now we're up 81-73. No need to really play the rest of the game. So we'll go right back to simulate, and just like that, we are right back in the play the moment or the Super Sim. So you can go ahead and continue simulating from there. You can sim the rest of the game. You can hop back in whenever you want to. We're going to go ahead, hop back in at the final seconds so we can go ahead and finish this game. So we jump in and we are right back in there. You guys, 11 seconds left. Game is just about over. We already won this game. We're going to go ahead, just play around, see what we can do. See if we can get a step back jumper with Paul George. He misses it. We try to get the putback, and we missed that as well. But it doesn't matter. We win the game 85-73. It is all over. See, Russell Westbrook was the player of the game, 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. So once again, Russell Westbrook bringing in those triple doubles. But that is pretty much play the moment. You can do that for any game of the season. So that is definitely a new and a neat feature that they already had. They just pretty much rebranded. You know how EA likes to rebrand things and make it seem like it's something entirely new when it's not really entirely new. They do simulate per week, so that is definitely neat. A quick way to simulate as well. You can also simulate in the future. That brings up your traditional calendar, which you're used to seeing. You see, I'm gonna go ahead and simulate to the final game of the season because I don't want to miss awards. And this is when I say things get a little sloppy. Now I know they don't name the MVP till after the season now, but when I simulated to the playoffs, we didn't get anything at all. No type of awards. They didn't tell me who made first team all NBA, who made first team all defense, 6th man of the year. They didn't tell me any of that, but I figured, hey, they might just show it at the end of the season, since that's the thing now they have at the NBA awards where they have them and they present the MVP at the end of the year. So you see the playoff bracket when you simulate an entire season. The Cleveland Cavs only a 5th seed, and the Philadelphia 76ers are a 2 seed in the East. So that is something that was pretty interesting when I was simulating it. So I automatically went straight through and we simulated the entire first round, and the Thunder are going to advance to the second round. So that was pretty cool that they got to the second round with their roster without me doing anything at all. So we're taking a look at the playoff bracket. You get also a little playoff simulation here because we're going to go through and simulate the entire playoffs and see who wins the championship. So we're in the second round, taking on James Harden, Chris Paul, and the Houston Rockets. You see Golden State, they got to the second round. Toronto and Cleveland, that should be a good matchup because Cleveland beat the Boston Celtics in the first round. So we're going to go ahead, just like last time, we're going to simulate, and we're going to end up going to the second round. To the third round now, the conference championship game. So we'll go ahead and look at it. We end up sweeping the Houston Rockets 4-0. The Golden State Warriors, they end up winning 4-1. They are now in the Western Conference Finals. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to simulate this game by game just to see how it goes and see how long it will take to sim it one game at a time. So we sim game 1 and we win game 1. So that's definitely a crazy but a good sign that this OKC roster might not be that bad, at least in NBA Live's opinion. We win game 2, so we're up 2-0. against the Golden State Warriors, and they're at home. So now we're going back home. All we got to do is win 2 games in OKC, and this series is all over. Game 3, we are simulating it, and the Thunder win once again, blowout 126-97. Game 4, closeout game in OKC, and the Warriors are going to win. They're going to extend the series. It's all good. We're going back to Oracle, but we're up 3-1. We're playing this or simulating this game, like I said, and we lose this game also. So 3-2. Pressure's getting back to us. We are now back in OKC for Game 6. Need to win this game to go to the NBA Finals, and they get blown out 124-73. Now it's here at a Game 7 in Oracle Arena. We have to simulate this game, see if we can win, and we lose by 20 points. So Golden State down 0-3. They end up winning this series in 7. They're going to the NBA Finals. We'll go ahead and simulate and see who they're going to play in the NBA Finals. So looking at the playoff bracket here, we're going to see exactly what the finals matchup is going to be. So the finals matchup is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors. Philly beat the Cavs in 6 games, 4-2, you guys. Definitely crazy, but that is the finals matchup, Golden State and the 76ers. Now, go ahead. I try to advance the week to see if it's going to tell me who wins, and it automatically advances to the NBA draft. So I have no idea how you will go about seeing who won the championship. I don't know if I missed that. I don't know if you could go game by game. Maybe if I looked at the calendar, I could go game by game, but it's something that I missed. I did not see it whatsoever, and I don't know if you can even look to see who won the finals. They also didn't tell me who won the MVP, so you see me going to season awards, and they have the All-Stars right here, and they have the Player of the Month. I don't see anywhere you can actually see who won the season awards, like the MVP, 6th Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, or any of the All-NBA teams. So I don't know if I missed that. I don't know if they didn't include it. Like I said, I feel like things are a little sloppy in NBA Live 18's franchise mode. Hopefully they can get that done. So right after the season's over, you go straight into the NBA draft. There is no scouting. You can see the scouting right there from the players, and you just have to make your best guess as to who's going to be good or not. Something else interesting about the NBA draft, you cannot make any trades. I went to go make a trade, see if you could trade draft picks or trade players, and it is grayed out. You cannot make any trades during the NBA draft. I don't like that, but for whatever reason, they're not going to put that in the game this year. So you go through, this is the end of the draft results. You can see the player overalls of the top players selected. So 83 overall, you had a total of 480 overalls and above. Then when you go to the second round, everybody's just hovering around that 70 overall mark. So that is the overalls. They're not too overdone. They're not too underpowered from what I've seen, but you get a solid mixture of players who aren't going to be good and players that are going to eventually be stars in the NBA. So now we go to the re-signing period, which is after the draft, and you see Russell Westbrook and Paul George, they both decline their player option, so they will become an unrestricted free agent unless we're able to sign them at the end of this period. You see Enes Kanter, he accepted his player option, so he will be back on the team. Brandon Jennings, Doug McDermott, Jeremy Grant, and Nick Collison contracts are all expired. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to sign Doug McDermott. I think we need to sign one of these guys. I want to show you guys how some of these negotiations typically go. Not that much of negotiating, but you can negotiate a little bit. So 2-year deal. He has a team player option, so we can decide if he wants to come back for that 3rd year or not. That's why it says 3 years at the bottom. We offer him the deal. He accepts it. That's nice and easy. We didn't mess around with the money too much. We decided to sign another player. That's going to be Brandon Jennings. We'll see what happens with him as well. So we have $33 million in cap space available. Brandon Jennings, he wants $6 million on average per year, and that's how they do it. They don't do the total contract. They're going to do it by average year, which you're pretty much used to if you play basketball franchise mode games, or pretty much any franchise mode game at this point. So we're going to go ahead and give him a 1-year deal. I don't know if I want to give him a 2-year. We decide we'll go ahead and bump this up to 2 years instead of 1 year. 3 years because it's going to be a team option, of course. Going to offer him that 3 years, $19 million. And he's going to go ahead, he's going to accept that one as well. Now we're here to Russell Westbrook. We have to bring this man in. 5-year deal. We're going to give him the max we could give him. Give him a player option, which makes it 6. Give him a flat offer, which means he'll make the same amount every single year. And Russell Westbrook decides he will be testing free agency. So contract negotiations did not work for Russell Westbrook. We decided to go ahead and now try to sign Paul George. He's asking for $26 million. we're going to go ahead and we're going to bump that up because now we have to get Paul George since we missed out on Russell Westbrook. So you see we went over, so now we're going to go back to the max we could offer him, which is 5 years, $31 million, give him a player deal, making that 6 years, and we're going to make that a flat contract as well, and he declines that one, so we missed out both on Russell Westbrook and Paul George. So now we have to go into free agency, and now we have to make something happen here in free agency. So the cool thing here, it tells you the top teams in contention for those players. So you see Russell Westbrook, he's looking at the Bulls and he's looking at the Pacers. Paul George looking at the Nuggets, Hawks, and the Lakers. So it tells you the top teams, so you can strategize here a little bit as to what players you want to go for and how much money you want to offer those players. Because you see right here, Marcus Smart doesn't have any suitors right now. No teams are interested. But we have to go after Russell Westbrook and try to bring him back to OKC. So once again, we're going to pull him up and we're going to give him a max deal. Now, when I said NBA Live is a little bit sloppy, here's why. The max we could give him is $36 million per year, but the offer is failed because we don't have enough salary cap. But due to bird rights, you're allowed to go over the salary cap to sign a player that is on your team already or was on your team already. So theoretically, you should be able to go over the cap to sign Russell Westbrook. In NBA Live, you cannot go over the cap to sign Russell Westbrook. So like I said, they don't have the full contract structure that the NBA uses, which could make this a little bit sloppy. Like I said, not attention to detail. So we could only offer him $33 million. When we did that, he was not interested. So Russell Westbrook is pretty much off the table for us, not really a realistic option. So now we're going to Paul George. We're hoping that he wants less money. So we're going to go ahead and give him the max that we could offer him. Like I said, that's going to be $31 million. Be backloaded this time. He accepts the offer. We're #1 on his team, so things are looking good. Now we only got $4 million left to play with, because once you offer that money, you can't even use that money to offer other players just in case Paul George doesn't want to sign. So you do have to be careful on who you offer these contracts to. Chris Bosh, he is sitting here. He only wants $3 million, it says. So I think we have a pretty good shot at trying to go ahead and get him. We want to fill that 4th spot, so why not give him some additional money to see if he will take that offer. So 2 years, because we have a team option. I love team options because you can decide if you want that player back or not. He goes ahead, and we are now #1 on his list. So now we're done. We made all our offers. You go to advanced week, go to the 2nd week, and we'll see what happens. So we go to my signings to see if we're able to sign any of them, because you see those guys are off the list. And we're able to sign both Paul George and Chris Bosh. Pretty much out of money there. So our free agency pretty much over, only $70,000. You can't get any player for $70,000. So we're pretty much all done there. And that is pretty much how free agency works as a whole. Like I said, some sloppy areas, but overall, it's a pretty simple and easy experience. I don't mind either one of it. So before we get into the next season, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade all the points that I got from Paul George last season when I simulated. He had 12,000 points. Why not just go ahead and add all those points to his 3-point shooting? You see me looking around at other attributes if I want to upgrade it or not, but only 3,800 points to upgrade his 3-point shot. We have 12,000. We're going to go ahead and use all the points we have to upgrade his 3 from an 85 to an 88. So his 3-ball did go up 3 points. Can't really complain in one season. And that is pretty much everything there is to franchise mode this year. I like it. It's simple. I like the way it's structured. I do think there's some missteps here and there, and hoping they can improve on that as the years go on. NBA Live 19, NBA Live 20, and so on. But they have a great foundation here. Hopefully they can fix some of the bugs at some point. Maybe put in the full contract structures of the NBA, because people like me, it's going to bother me that I can't go over the cap to sign my own players. But that is pretty much everything. I did enjoy the time playing franchise mode. I do think it's going to be fun, and I am interested to play it some more. You guys let me know what you guys thought of everything we've seen here in franchise mode. Do you think it is an improvement of their old franchise modes, and is it even competing with 2K? I don't think it is at this point, but it is a very solid franchise mode. So you guys let me know how you guys feel about this in the comment section below. It's your boy D Lloyd. Let me see y'all next time. Peace.